There are only two reasons to own this stock. The two reasons are robotaxi, a multi-trillion-dollar cash flow opportunity. The second opportunity, much bigger, robotic labor. Replacement of all human labor. It means now Tesla has one job, and that job is keep the course and stay on the path to unlock autonomy and humanoid robots.
I think the only risk that's really in the way, that's really causing the uncertainty, the FUD, the drama, excuses, is, you know, Elon's package.
If it doesn't happen, by the way, then we are totally
toast. Last time you said your stock price end of the year was 850. Is that still true?
That's my...
Joe, thank you for joining me again. Whenever we have time, we do these podcasts because I love having Joe on.
It's the classic, you know? Pejjy and Joe on Tesla, and now earnings are done.
Yes, and everyone loves this.
Everything clarified. Everything became clear. I just have a video out on my channel about the path to 700 is now crystal clear. Very important insights on the earnings call that for me clarified a lot on the path ahead.
Yes, indeed. Those of you guys who aren't following Joe, links in the description, his YouTube, Pioneer Lens, which a lot of interesting things are happening soon, and X as well. I recommend you all to follow him. But Joe, sheesh, man, Q3, I'll be honest, short-sighted. When it was a miss, I was a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, but we can't ignore the records, right? We have record in revenue, record in energy, record in cash flow, which these were really important insights.
Cash balance, 41 billion on the balance sheet, insane.
Yep, 41.6 billion. That is insane. Shout out to AJ for making that chart with the crazy chart, like, you know, it shows Tesla going up in cash flow while everybody else is going down. You know, that's insane. Like almost 5 billion in cash flow. That was a shock to me. I was okay. That was good. That kind of offset my disappointment of the mess EPS, because I really thought it was going to be above 70 cents. You know, get some green, but that's okay. It won't matter next year. But what was your biggest takeaway from this Q3? I mean, for me, what was the biggest takeaway is that crystal clear, as you said, there's not much really competition for Tesla. It's full self-driving, it's robo-taxis, it's the next S-curves. Of course, Elon was talking about Elon's compensation package. Vote for it. You know, I'm not comfortable doing all those things. We know that shebang. We'll get into that in a bit. But what I found very interesting about this and what the market was reacting to it, and we've been talking about this for some time now, is for a year now, actually, that the market doesn't seem to really care about the quarterly results anymore. They care about the catalysts now. And the big one right now is, you know, voting on Elon's compensation package, which is, you know, due in about, I think in about 2 weeks or so. But it's an interesting phenomenon because the stock did go down 3-4%, but the next day, and even now, I think it's green. It went up. And I've never seen anything like this. Like, this was insane.
I mean, it's good that you mention it, because it teaches us something about the state of the stock. It teaches us that we are definitely disconnected from earnings expectations for good reasons. I will go into that in a second. But the fact that the stock on pretty average results, bottom line, that's my bottom line. It's like, we exceeded some things, we underperformed some other things. No one really cares. And that's when a stock drops 5% and then recovers the same day, up 7% from the lows to plus 2%. That just means Wall Street and institutions and retail are just, you know, don't really care about these numbers. Everyone, you know, the stock is recalibrating and resetting into a new narrative, and that has already happened, and that's the proof, right? Basically, it's anchored now on robotaxi and Optimus outlook. And the big picture, when I look at these earnings, we have to take a step back and see what is Tesla? What is this stock all about, and why do people own the stock? The answer is very simple. There are only two reasons to own this stock, plus a third one. We'll get into this in a second. The two reasons are robotaxi, a multi-trillion-dollar cash flow opportunity to turn the world's infrastructure and transportation into autonomous transport. Every human, very soon, before 2030, I mean, with every, you know what, I mean, the usual suspects, the top 2 billion, which is a lot of people, they will be able to haul a robotaxi for under $1 per mile. They don't need cars anymore. They don't need buses anymore. They don't need taxis anymore. And they don't need Ubers anymore. When you add this up, they don't need truck drivers anymore. It's also a giant thing. When you add these things up, We are talking about $5-6 trillion in free cash flow.
Yeah, that's insane.
Just so to understand what that means. Not by 2030, but that's the TAM. It's insane, the opportunity. It's vastly bigger than transport right now because of the effect that demand goes through the roof when prices go down by 50, 60, 70% for transport in general. Opportunity number one, that alone makes Tesla potentially a $20 trillion, $30 trillion company. That's what people have to understand, big picture.
Yeah.
I'm not saying by 2030, but as a TAM, it's a total potential. The second opportunity, much bigger, just insane, because what opportunity is even bigger than universal autonomous transport on Earth? Well, the answer is robotic labor. Replacement of all human labor, not just replacement, but also dropping the price by 90%, which will lead to an increase in total, whatever you call this thing, TAM. The TAM for labor, for physical labor, will be tenfolding from 30 trillion to 300 trillion or something once we have robots and lower that price. Tesla has in my opinion, I would bet that Tesla has kind of an uncontested lead in that field. And a lot of people are discussing this. Oh, Tesla can't even build robots. That's a different discussion. In my assessment, uncontested lead. No one can even get close to Optimus. That's the reason you own the stock. It's an asymmetric, enormous, ridiculous upside. And don't be fooled by the fact that Tesla is $1.5 trillion. People say, oh, it's $1.5 trillion large. How can it even grow anymore? It's like, okay, if you have 10 to 20 trillion free cash flow opportunity in one market and add another with unlimited free cash flow opportunity, clearly you can be bigger than 1.5 trillion. It can be hundreds of trillions.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone kind of understands it. That's the funny thing. 5 years ago, people would have thought Joe was completely nuts. Now, Adam Jonas and Dan Ives, Morgan Stanley and Wedbush are talking about this. So it's not crazy anymore. Okay, what does it all mean for earnings? It means now Tesla has one job, and that job is keep the course and stay on the path to unlock autonomy and humanoid robots. What does that mean? Focus of the company and strategically staying the path. Green check mark. They repositioned the company very recently to the new master plan, sustainable abundance, and say exactly that. And the second condition, more importantly, cash. You need unlimited cash. And what is Tesla generating? Quarter by quarter by quarter, unlimited cash.
Yeah.
And to put it in perspective, $41 billion in cash on the balance sheet now. Absolute historic record for Tesla. More than twice as much as any automaker in America, plus not the liabilities, the insane liabilities of GM and Ford. And most importantly, spending R&D like crazy. By the way, R&D spent up $600 million year over year, which is the equivalent of roughly 12 cents earnings per share. So they came in at 50 cents per share. Expectations were 54. If you would just keep R&D steady, which is already huge, they would have been at 60 cents earnings.
Yeah,
the fact that they're at 62 cents. The fact that they're at 50 cents is owed to the other fact that they're increasing R&D spending dramatic. I mean, 600 million is not nothing. More. That is Optimus. That is AI. So that's why it's very important not to stare at earnings too much. Like, are you really going to complain if the company with the greatest opportunity in the history of humanity is spending $600 million more on accelerating R&D? Do you want to punish them for that because they're coming in under 54 cents? No. You should take that out and then base reset and say, no, they actually beat it, in my opinion, 62 cents, right? So
correct.
The bottom line is, take a step back, see the big picture. Is Tesla on track? Yes. Are they tightly and intelligently managed? Yes. How do we measure that? Massive cash flow. Not only do they increase spend on R&D, on developing robots that will replace all human labor, not do they only spend it on robotaxis to replace all transport and drop prices for both labor and transport by 90% and more, or by 50% or more, but they're doing so while they increase R&D spend in a way that generates more and more positive cash every quarter. Like, just let it sink in. And then you take this and compare to the competition. Figure 1 and 1x. They are cool companies. I don't even want to be too critical, but just look at what resources they have. They just raised $1 billion. They raised $1 billion that has to keep them afloat for half a year or a year, while Tesla is raking in $4 billion in a quarter.
Insane.
Just think about this. Like, how are you going to win against Tesla that already has an R&D lead? that has massive talent, that has Elon Musk on top. Now you are these two other companies, the Norwegians, 1X, great company, by the way, I'm very supportive of them, with Neo Gamma, and then you have Figure One. Yeah, but they have to raise 1 billion. It's not easy to raise $1 billion. They're out there desperately raising $1 billion just to keep on going. While Tesla every single quarter is now raking in billions and billions,
yeah,
while also spending $2 billion on R&D. Like, just think about it.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's it. And you know what's crazy? Wall Street, they've woken up. They see this. They see that this is the case. And I've always, said this, that with all the research that us retail investors and you and me and other influencers are doing on Tesla, I have a feeling that these Wall Street guys, they copy us what they do. I mean, because
they're not just copying us, they're watching. Right,
they're
now.
watching us. I know, because it's insane. Because if you take any other, like Nvidia was the best example. I mean, Nvidia, Jensen was saying that, guys, our chips are coming. This is the big opportunity for us. Don't miss out on this. This is what's going to take us to next levels. And then they were shocked in one quarter. The only ones who weren't shocked were the actual Nvidia investors. And Wall Street is looking at Tesla. They're going like, okay, we see this opportunity happening. We may want to, price some things in. Another thing here is that Elon buying $1 billion worth of stock at $400. I think this is also a very strong, I guess you can say, shield. It's crazy to me that Tesla is consolidating in the 400s, and it doesn't dare to go below 400. Like, it goes to 409, then bounces back up to 340.
Because this is very good that you mentioned, Pejjy, because we have to understand the stock dynamics when you look at tactical trading here, but also strategically. Normally, I would be concerned, and I am a little concerned on a 3-month level, because all the catalysts that I was looking for Q4 are gone, right? They're all pushed out or eliminated. So Optimus launch is now pushed out into Q1. So there is no catalyst for any Optimus videos or something. Robotaxi removing the safety driver, which I always viewed as a surprise catalyst in November. Now Elon already said it, and he's going to say it's only a few cars in Austin, and it's going to be end of the year, so December. So that's my catalyst gone. Yeah. Not because it's not happening, but because now it's priced in.
It's priced
in. I'm concerned that there is nothing to really protect the stock from going down from here. So we have to, like, before these catalysts happen. So you have to, what I call bridging into the event, right? The real catalyzing events, the big one will be in May, in my estimation, when Robotaxi has an inflection point and free cash flow. That's like the big one. I stick to my current estimate in May. So far, no reason for me to change anything, but I'm watching it. And the other thing is any Optimus news, and there will be hard news in Q1. So there we have catalysts, but in between we don't have catalysts. So if the stock weakens, it just drops. That's the problem. And what does it hold? What is it holding up? Well, that people talk about these catalysts and dangle the carrots, like it's coming in Q1 and then coming in Q2. But that is a dangling mechanic, right? You need to dangle it, and you need to really push the message. And if you get weakened and the market weakens a little bit, then Tesla can drop. So that's my outlook for Q4. I think I'm not super bullish on a 2 months horizon. I'm saying, like, well, we have to be cautious and watch out. If the market goes up and it's all a bull run into year end, sure, Tesla goes up, but not by itself.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Q4? How do you think Q4 is going to be in terms of like deliveries and well, I think energy is going to be record, but in terms of deliveries, they're all talking about it could be less than Q3s, but I don't know. I think Q4 could be a stronger deliveries than Q3.
I think they will surprise more on the upside because people are negative, even though they're not that negative anymore. You always have to watch expectations, right? I think expectations are now not down anymore as they were before. Now people get the message.
Yeah.
And like, maybe it's not going to be so bad. So that makes it more dangerous. Because if expectations are on the floor, we know they are outperforming. Once they're like, well, maybe Q4 is not that bad, then it's getting dangerous. Because Q4 is not going to be that bad. But then,
that's right.
Expectations and reality get a little close. My take is, first of all, on tactician level, December 31st is an important date every year because then it resets. So I don't make any predictions for Q1 right now on a tactics level. And for the viewers, in case you don't know, I'm a long-term super bull on Tesla. That reflects in a long-term super bullish portfolio position. And then I trade around it. I like tactical trading on top of it. I'm not touching the core position, but I might absolutely double down. I might rotate stocks into leaps when Tesla drops too much to have leverage up. And then I rotate back into stocks. And now is the time to rotate back into stocks and take some leverage off the table. Step by step. I already did a little bit. And I'm rotating my strategy into something that can benefit more from sideways movements. Short put selling, sometimes short call selling cautiously when it goes up too much. Because I'm betting more on a sideways move that will be very market dependent. So I think we are stable here at 450. I'm not buying into these breakout theorists. Some smart people on X say, oh, it's breakout time because of the chart. I don't believe in that too much. I think breakout time for Tesla needs catalysts, and these catalysts are coming. And breakouts before the catalysts are kind of weak, fake breakouts, like the Trump victory. Yeah, there was a big breakout, but it wasn't stable. Whereas Model 3, there was a extreme stable breakout, right? Because it was driven by hardcore cash flow. So we can have another breakout, but then it's going to be falling back, right? It's waiting for the hard catalyst, and they are in May, in my opinion, and then the second half of 2026. And the question is, can we have a rally up and then not go down because we bridge into these catalysts? That's the tactical question. And I don't know the answer. We have to watch it closely. But that means for me, it's a sideways thing. I don't think Tesla can break out above 500 in a sustainable way. It can always go to 550 or something, but it's just going to drop back hard, So that's why I'm always cautious on the long call side, short call side. And people always say, oh, this is covered or not. Like, who cares if it's covered or not? I'm talking about money. Like, either you make money or not. It doesn't matter if it's covered or not, in my opinion. So you have to be cautious. Don't do random option stuff. You need to really understand it. And if you start small and be disciplined and, document what you're doing. But I'm always directionally very bullish. So I like short puts much more than short calls. I only do short calls when it's obvious, right? Like, for example, with the affordable model launch, it went up to 460. Like, there's just no way it's going to be, sell the news. So then I sold 480 calls because it was obvious. So switching from leveraged leaps, where I'm just full on bullish, that I was in these leaps since May and April. And I kept them all the way to now. I still have a lot of them, but I rolled them back into stocks. Now I have more cash freed up, and stocks have more margin. Now I can sell short puts. And I'm betting on, okay, this thing is going to go sideways, and 440 to 450 is probably the good center middle point of that channel for now. So it might go to 480, might go to 410, but it's not going to break out too much. That's my bet for until end of the year. And then we have to reset. I don't make any tactical predictions for Q1 because it's all depending what happens. If you have a market crash and Tesla goes to 350 or something, well, then Q1 is going to be good. If it goes to 480, then it's going to be bad. That's my take.
I think we may see 500 or above because of one thing, which most likely I think will happen. And that's the important date on November 6th. The Elon compensation.
I took my bet a little off the table there because I think, it's going to be a little bit of a magnet, but I think there were a bunch of fantasies projected into November 6th that would have served as a great magnet, but not a catalyst, a sell the news magnet. And that was Optimus mostly. And Optimus is off the table because Elon now said the demo will be in Q1. I think it's priced in. People say, of course, if he doesn't get the package, well, then prepare for
that's going to be bad.
But that's not going to happen, in my opinion. So, okay, fine, he's going to get it. Maybe you get a 2% bump or something. But I mean, everyone knows it. So what's the surprise?
I think it's going to be more than a 2%. I think it's going to be because I think the only risk right now to Tesla, I think after this Q3 earnings and the guidance and stuff, the path is very clear. I think the only risk that's really in the way, that's really causing the uncertainty, the FUD, the drama, excuses, is Elon's package, right?
But I think I think there's a 90% chance he gets it priced in right now. So you get a 10% bonus on it, not in stock price, but just in risk removal. It's like, okay, fine. There's a 10% tail risk that he doesn't get because he's allowed to vote for it. We have an additional 13% vote on this. Plus
exactly.
So probably 15%. I don't know how much. 15% boost and this thing always passed so far. So we had 70% approval so far. Now we have 15% on top of it to 85%. We need, I think, 50%. Not even sure.
Yeah, 50%. Yeah, I think more than 51% for it to pass.
So, if it doesn't happen, by the way, then we are totally toast.
What do you think? Let's talk about the viewers are curious. They're like, what do you think is going to happen if it doesn't pass? And this is a 0.0069% chance of that. So it's not going to happen. But what do you think is going to happen? Like,
I mean, of course, it's a dramatic risk for shareholders. I mean, not that it's happened, it's very unlikely, but because basically you're saying, oh, there is a certain person called Elon Musk who plays a little role in the whole plan. And we can go into why he plays a role, but he's Elon, he's an engineer. You still need disruptive leaps, multiple, many of them, right? You need to come up with all kinds of things within Optimus and Robotaxi to actually make it happen. The reason we are just saying, obvious Tesla's going to win is because we know Elon is sitting there with the Elon brain and overcomes all these very dramatic magnitude level problems that will still come up in the future. And we know he's just going to do it because he has figured it out. And, okay, now he's the part because Tesla is not in a position where these products exist and are cash flow positive and just need to be scaled. They are not there yet. But because of Elon, we believe, well, we know structurally what the problems will be, and we trust Elon to overcome them because it's kind of logical, but Elon has shown it. And now we would basically go to Elon and say, Elon, you're not getting paid. And also for Elon, he made this very clear in the earnings call.
Yeah.
And before, the reason it's not about getting paid. I mean, no one needs $1 trillion pay. It's about control. And he said it again and again. He said he doesn't need total control over Tesla, but he needs half of total control. He needs 25%.
Yeah.
And why? Because he's building the robot army.
Yeah, we don't want some activists or some woke guy taking over.
Insane person. He doesn't want who's an insane, like he doesn't want Glass Lewis or what's his name? Fink.
Yeah.
Or any of these people to say, oh, thank you for 2 billion robots. Now I can finally subjugate the humans. He just doesn't want it.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And that's very understandable.
Let's be logical for a second, right? Let's say that, okay, it doesn't pass, right? And, we're still getting robotaxis. We're still getting FSD. We're still getting AI4, AI5, energy. Optimus, maybe to a limit. Maybe, I don't think Elon will go balls to the walls with Optimus. I mean, I still see a market cap like at 5 trillion or maybe 5 to 6 trillion with those market caps just by itself.
I think it's like very dangerous because I think it's very unlikely this happen. But if it happens, it's a major disaster. And it's not going to be an imminent major disaster. The stock will drop maybe $50, maybe $100 or something. It's not going to drop to zero.
Yeah.
But I will not bet on Tesla anymore because I know Elon's brain a little bit. I think at this point I can simulate him. So he's going to say internally, not officially, he's going to say hard no to Optimus. He's going to say, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it in a different company. And that might include me having to resign because, I have to build the robots and I have to build AGI and I cannot do it with Tesla. That's the outcomes. It's not good.
That's right. Yeah. Optimus is a solely Tesla product. I think he will continue it, but very, very limited and very, very keeping it in a very controlled manner. And then he would do it massively in another company. I think
exactly.
I think
he would basically create some sort of control that he fully controls it. He would say, maybe I quit Tesla and I'm an advisor. I build a different company and then you can incorporate this into Optimus or something. But he's just he's not joking. Because I wouldn't be joking. If I was him, I wouldn't be joking. It's not a joke.
I know, same. Yeah. Yeah, no, 100% agree. I would stop if this gets rejected, I would stop buying Tesla stock. And I would just probably hold because my conviction is Robotaxi, right? It wasn't for the Optimus. So for me, it's okay. But I want Elon Musk to continue running the company. And if he's not running the company, I'm not going to continue buying the stock. But again, this is all
the good news is this reset of the stock, like you would need to be a complete moron to vote against this. And we know there are morons out there. There's Glass Lewis, there's definitely morons, but they are also not holding the stock, so they don't care if it gets destroyed. They have zero interest. They have maybe negative interest. They want it to be destroyed, which is why they should not be allowed to do what they do. I work on a video, by the way, on these proxy people. They're so-called governance people. If you dig into them, they're like half criminals, like these people. They're pushing ESG, they're pushing DEI, they're Canada and Germany based, by the way. funnily enough. And they control all these things, and they are under investigation, by the way, by multiple attorney generals of multiple states in the United States for constitutional violations, for ESG pushing, for DEI. They are under investigation by Congress and multiple attorney generals. Like, how are these people allowed to tell super large funds what to do?
Exactly.
And there are some incremental improvements, by the way, that Vanguard and some others, I think even BlackRock, are now allowing fund holders to actually determine how structurally they should vote, like along with board, along with proxy recommendations, or along with other stuff. So now the funds also are starting to listen and allow fund holders, because these big funds, they don't want to think about anything. They outsource the responsibility to vote on shares to these proxy advisors. And because the proxy advisors are now being revealed as these activists, insane, they're basically cultural terrorists, in my opinion, a lot of them, especially, and that's a harsh word, but look into Glass Lewis, into the CEO. This dude is a nut job. He's like an ESG fanatic. He ran an ESG company before. So are you kidding me? This has been revealed as cultural terrorism. That's what it is.
Elon,
that's why they're under investigation. That's why they're under criminal and all kinds of, I don't know what investigation, but look into it. I think Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri, Florida, all the attorney generals, Texas, they all have open investigations into them. So horrible stuff. And like ideological, crazy, racial, all like really dirty stuff, and gender discrimination, all kinds of stuff that they're pushing like insane. They're literally saying, oh, your board doesn't have enough women, you're bad, everyone has to go.
That's crazy.
Like, have you lost your marbles? This is criminal behavior. This anti-constitutional. It's like it's a violation of all kinds of laws in the United States. So these people are really, really, really bad. And more funds are now opening up different avenues of voting for the fund holders, but it's a little complicated. You have to, most Vanguard, fund owners, they don't even know that, but you can go on the website and then actually select your preferences if you're a holder of these things.
So if I get the S&P 500 through Vanguard and I can vote on it,
exactly,
right? Is that? Oh, I didn't
exactly. You're basically, if you hold Vanguard shares on an S&P passive fund, right, index fund, now you can select how Vanguard is going to execute your vote on all the shares, which is good.
Nice. I didn't know that.
You can go on the website and they have the instructions how to do it and tell them how they vote, right? Should you vote in line with the board recommendations? The answer is yes. If you buy shares or indirect shares in companies, do what the board says. Otherwise, you shouldn't own the shares.
Yeah.
Or should you follow proxy advisors like these nut jobs? Like, no.
Yeah.
It's like the end of civilization.
That's actually really good. Viewers, take note. If you guys holding a lot of S&P,
well, go to my channel, because I'm going to launch this probably over the weekend or something. I'm going to cover the scandal of these advisors. Maybe I should do a separate video on actually educating people who are fund holders and even index fund holders that they can do this.
I think that'd be good.
Because I was surprised. I was like mad at these people. I was mad at Vanguard and BlackRock as a whole. They invented ESG, but that's a different division of BlackRock. So not everyone at BlackRock is bad. And so these people, and State Street, I think too, I have to look into them. At least these funds are listening, right? Before they just voted along proxy lines. They voted for you. You are a shareholder in a Vanguard index fund, and they just decided not to ask you and vote with these crazy people on all these different companies. So cool. Now they listened, which is very good. And they open it up, and now they allow you, if you hold these shares in an index fund, to tell Vanguard how you want to vote your shares. That is why Tesla, again, is so transformative, not just as a company, not just as Elon, and not just as a stock, but also in its function as the world's largest retail shareholder base, by the way. Number one in the world, over 10 million retail shareholders in Tesla, which is nuts. And so for the first time, large numbers of people get exposed to these very dark governance abuses in the capitalist system. Because in Tesla, we are passionate about the goal. We like Optimus, we like Robotaxi, we like Elon. And when he gets abused like that, some weirdo in Canada, who's not even Canadian, of course, sitting there, privately owned with no oversight and saying, oh, I vote against all the Tesla shareholders in a dangerous way because I'm recommending a huge chunk, like 30% of the shares or something, to do extremely bad stuff, right? In terms of votes. Now, for the first time, people get exposed to it. It's like, who are these people? Like, what? Why is there some rando company sitting in Canada that can define in a very significant way the fate of all American publicly traded companies? Isn't that a problem?
That's a big problem.
Especially when it turns out that they're, as I said, cultural terrorists. They're like insane people. It's like, oh, why can insane people suddenly tell corporate America, fire all men? Like, what is this? Like, we are working on stuff. Don't you understand? Like, we are working on cars and humanoid robots and AI. You can't just fire all men. So it's like a disaster. And now it becomes more clear and people react to it because of Tesla, by the way. Same with Delaware scandal. All because of
Delaware.
Tesla.
Yes, they're cooked. They're done. I mean, I hope they can. I mean, I think by end of the year we'll see the results, what it is. But I think there's a good chance that it could be approved because the case is just so stupid.
I think Delaware, if they do not reject this in the Supreme Court, I mean, they're mega cooked.
They're finished.
If they're rejected, they're still half cooked because what they created, the mess they created, it was bad. But at least then they have a chance. That's why I think it's all theater, like it's pseudo justice. It is nothing. None of that stuff has to do anything with justice, right? These are political activists. Now the governor is like, ooh, my state is going down the drain because of Tesla. Now he kicks the Supreme Court just like, dudes, you have to fix this shit. And it's like, oh, fine, let's. And so it's all like, they definitely have disqualified themselves for a long time. Now, if they keep ruling in a rational way going forward, they can rebuild the reputation. But my bet would be that they fix it. Because they have to. If they don't fix it,
they need to. And even if they do, as you said, they're not. We're already seeing other companies leaving Delaware because it's just like, what the heck, man? Only guy with 9 shares can dictate and put me. What? No, that's ridiculous. There's one share. You can just get someone.
I mean, the guy who tried his best, he would just want to make a quick buck, right? And make his lawyers rich.
Yeah.
But the fact that the judge goes along with it for partisan reasons, like, oh, he's a Trump voter, Elon, he should like be dismantled. It's like, are you nuts?
And this is why Elon had this like moment. He woke up and he's just like, well, wait a minute. If only guy with like 9 shares can dictate what happens with me and the company, well, no. If I'm gonna make intelligent robots that can rule the world, and I can get ousted just like that. No, I want 25%, and I give him full right to that. I give him 100%. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, and also like the scandal of this Delaware ruling that tells you how bad certain people are was that the shareholders, us in a vast overwhelming majority, voted for it. It wasn't Elon decided. Elon said, I would like to have this because I think I deserve it. But you are the shareholders, you have to give it to me, otherwise I don't get it. The shareholders came together and said, oh, let's look at this. Yes, Elon, we are support. That's why we're investors. We think you're doing the right thing. We think you make us rich and happy. Here's the package.
Yes.
Elon makes us rich and happy. And some insane judge takes it then away and tells us, the shareholders, well, you don't have the right to decide these things.
It's ridiculous.
Are you crazy?
Maybe there's some viewers here that are anti this, but think about it. SpaceX, Elon has 50% of SpaceX. Look, I mean, look at that. He has, I think, 20% of Neuralink or something like that. He has a good chunk of Boring Company. I think Tesla is one of the top least companies that he owns. Like, actually, no, I think it's after SpaceX or after Neuralink.
No, Tesla is the smallest share.
He has the smallest share than Tesla. So there we go. So, and this thing is, making intelligent AI and robots and all this stuff. So give him 30%, give him 40%. I don't care. It's Elon. If he wanted to do something very evil, you would have looked at SpaceX that he owns 50%, is privately owned, which he has a lot more control there than he does with Tesla, and you would dictate it on that. But no, he's not. He's actually beating the Chinese, beating the Russians, and beating NASA, and is the #1 rocket company in the world. And if it wasn't for SpaceX, we wouldn't have reusable rockets. We wouldn't have, rockets are landing themselves. I don't know.
But anyway, like, besides this, we can have all debates, and there are probably viewers. There are always some viewers that have a different opinion, think, no, there needs to be more governance, more control. We can have all these discussions. The fact is, there was a vote. In the end, it's a vote, and the vote was very clear. And if you lose a vote, you lose the vote, and the other guys win. Boom, end of story. And we need some rules and some basic, notions of property rights And that's what it is. If I own something, I own the share and I'm allowed to vote, and there are rules. And some judge cannot just say, but, no, but my boss is, giving money to Biden. I have to take it away from Elon. It's like, this is not how it works. That's not justice.
Yeah, that's not at all. Yeah. But I know these are all like, doom and gloom. It's going to get passed. Any dips because of fear, it's not going to get passed. I'm going to buy more stock. Simple as that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to of course, there's always a tail risk, but it's just extremely not possible in any reasonable universe. Yeah. That's why I'm like, not even for me, there's no tail risk. This is going to get approved.
Yes.
For two reasons. Number one, it has to be approved, otherwise it's the end. And second, on a pure mechanical level, there are literally 15% additional votes in there for it by Elon. Yeah. I mean, that's just 15%. Are you kidding me? That's a lot of votes.
So if 50% of all shares is owned by retail investors, and let's say 80% is going to vote yes, because that's what I think that was a statistic last time. 80% of retail.
Well, and you have major institutions who are clearly voting yes, like Cathie Woods and Ron Barron and these people.
Yeah, so you have exactly. So you have 40% of retail investors vote yes. So you have 15% of Elon and Kimball voting yes. I mean, that's already at 55%. And then you have Ron Barron, Cathie Woods, all these guys. So it's already approved, in my opinion. It's already approved.
Last vote last year was 71%.
Yeah, that was insane. And that was Elon, and Elon couldn't vote on that.
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't.
So we have now 71% plus 15%. So that would be at 85, 86%.
It's gonna be historic.
Now it's a new package. So maybe some people say no, but maybe some new people say yes. Who knows? So I think it's just, there is no possible scenario where this goes.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think the market really realizes that as well, which is why the stock isn't really, it's still consolidating.
But I tell you, Pejjy, back to tactics and trading, I am not too bullish on. So basically what I'm seeing from here all the way to December 31st, I think Tesla has very little alpha left in it. So that means it's probably going to move with the market because there is no catalyst. Like, I don't think November 6th is now a big catalyst anymore because the catalyzing features were removed into Q1. There is no Optimus launch or demo. Sure, there will be maybe a Roadster demo, but no one really cares in terms of stock price. This thing is probably going to fly. That's my bet. Or a flying car or something. But whatever, even if it is, it's not going to. Who knows? If they just come up with some crazy flying car plan, which they might. I'm very bullish on this kind of stuff. I always said, Elon, I disagree on two things with Elon. Strategic disagreement. That's flying cars and nuclear fusion, because he was against both. He was said, oh, flying cars are stupid, not going to happen, and nuclear fusion unimportant. We already have fusion energy with his solar things. It's like, bro, really? Nuclear fusion? You think it's not important? But Elon thinks differently from me. I'm more like, it's easier for me to just project these things out, but Elon thinks in tighter time scales.
Engineering,
If there would be real nuclear fusion, of course he would be all over it, but he doesn't see a path right now. He's waiting until there is a real path, which might happen any day, by the way, and then he's going to switch pace, of course. And with flying cars was probably also not in the cards. Now it's completely in the cards. So, but these are just tail risks on the upside. That's why you shouldn't have short calls too much.
That's right.
I mean, what are the odds that I think there's a 10% chance, to put a number on it. I think there's a 10% chance that in Q4, maybe in November 6th, but maybe later, they launch the Roadster. It's a flying car, and Elon says some crazy stuff and says Tesla is now building flying cars in the next 5 years.
That would be mind-blowing.
Which, when you think about it, I mean, the time is totally ripe, right? There are tons of vertical takeoff and landing companies in China and Archer and all these in Germany. So they work. It's perfect. It's, of course, superior to cars. When you think about it, you don't need roads. It's perfect. They're faster. They're convenient. You don't need, I mean, they are completely superior. And the technology is clearly there. This can be easily done. I think there's a 10% chance this happens. And if that happens, that might boost the stock. Because that's an insane story.
Flying cars. Well, let's see. I mean, they did.
I don't think it's likely. I'm saying 90% chance this is not happening. But there's a 10% chance because they constantly talked about SpaceX and the Roadster. And this will be the coolest demo in the history of humanity. You're not saying that for a stupid little supercar. It's boring. So
I think it's a rocket attached to it or something. I mean,
But in what direction?
Oh my God.
That is the only other question. Is it vertical? Then it's a very different ballgame.
No, I mean, let's see. They said end of the year, right? So what, that's no, not 6 weeks, like 12 weeks, 10 weeks away from
I'm
that.
just saying, Pejjy, like, I don't want to sound too crazy, but when again, first principles, flying cars are just structurally superior to driving cars. Just imagine you don't need roads anymore. You are everywhere much faster because you can go in a straight line. Traffic is gone because you have 3 dimensions. Now we can just stack them. And Elon was always talking about 3 dimensions with boring, which was stupid, by the way. I don't like boring at all. But flying is better than boring. Flying is less boring. That's a good t-shirt.
Unless it crashes.
And so, but I think if Elon does flying cars, they would need to have jet engines, not that propellers.
That'd be insane. I think that has its own regulation issues with that. But let's see. Roadster is going to be interesting. Let's see what they're going to come up with. Yeesh.
But I wonder how the stock would, if they can, I tell you the stock would rally on that. Because TAM-wise, I mean, people, okay, fine. If you replace all cars suddenly with flying, I mean, are you kidding me? That's a major...
But that would contradict robo-taxis, wouldn't it? You know, it's just like, wait a minute, you can now have, you have cars on...
No, because flying cars will take probably 10 years to really get into scale. So Robotaxi is ready next year and scales in 2027. You could scale 10 years of Robotaxi into trillions of free cash flow before, even in the best case, before you have hundreds of millions or millions of flying cars. So it could be a good S curve.
Yeah, let's see. Sheesh.
I'm not betting on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I'm not betting against it. I do not want to have a lot of short call exposure around November 6th or any other event.
Yeah, though that time is crazy.
Because normally it's like Tesla will be, my prediction is it's 9 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 of these events are sell the news events. But the one that is not a sell the news events destroys you if you're short.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Speaking of that, what is your stock? Last time you said your stock price end of the year was 850. Is that still true?
No, that's my fair value. That's my not
that's
not
your
the
fair
stock price.
value.
That's like what it should, the intrinsic value of the stock.
Right. So
whereas my stock prices are more like based on what I think the stock will actually be, which incorporates market behavior and people and stuff like that.
Okay. Now I'm still thinking, I think it's still gonna hit like 575 or something, but then it's gonna crash back down to like maybe like 400. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people on X, like traders and all that, saying that is a good momentum to hit like 900, 700, 500 by year end, just on momentum. I don't know, but let's see.
No, because momentum doesn't come out of nowhere. Like momentum needs to be fueled by something. And I think this earnings call, even though I liked it strategically, tactically, it was a removal of fuel.
Right.
For the next 2 months, because now all the catalysts are not there anymore. So I got a little, this is going to... Now, we should not underestimate macro aspects. So I think Fed is lowering rates, of course. Fed is going to give an outlook of continuously lowering rates. And what we should also not forget is these rate lowering actions by the Fed and the money printing that is going to happen soon. There is a mechanical effect on the markets that people underestimate a little bit, which is all these 7 trillion sitting in money market accounts and stuff like that. They have to get out of there. I think we live in deeply inflationary times. I think inflation is completely wrongly measured. It's about M3, not M2, if you're an economist. It's about the true total amount of money out there that is not being measured, because most of that goes into asset inflation, because it's about banks and people like this. And that means we have massive real inflation, and we will have more and more and more of that for many reasons. And that means assets will tend to go up a lot for no reason. Plus, there are reasons on top of it, like AGI profit boom and Tesla stuff. But the baseline will be just this stuff goes up. So that's why I would absolutely not hard bet against Tesla going over 500 in the next 2 months. But it's not going to be for Tesla reasons. It's going to just be, okay, market is up 10%, Tesla is up 20.
I agree with that. You mentioned catalysts was defueling for this, but man, 2026 is going to be fire. Like I mean, Elon has always said, earlier in this year, that a lot of the ramp and stuff is happening. Fundamentals happening in 2025, and then 2026 is when the ramp's going to happen. And I think we're going to see the fruit of it in 2027, 2028.
And people don't understand, like when you look at run-ups, I think we will see a run-up similar to Model 3. Remember what happened, just so you people understand what that means. It means 2,500 in 2026 or 2027.
2,500. Sheesh.
That would be That would be the equivalent run-up. That would be the equivalent run-up from here. So, and that will be overshooting, and then it drops back to 1,500 or whatever. But we have to, people underestimate this stuff. I don't think it's rational, by the way. My price target is, my fundamental value of the stock is definitely it's like at 1,200 or 1,400 next year. I have to look it up. Ooh. Just adjusting some things. But it could easily go to over 2,000. Because once this thing runs, it's just a complete short screen panic attack. And then I will be the first to say, I think a little, this is going to come down again. But once the floodgates open, free cash flow from Optimus, potentially Optimus, by the way, next year, people don't understand. If they produce 50,000 Optimus, which they might, plus Robotaxi, more or less guaranteed that next year we will hit critical mass. Like 5% of free cash flow through Robotaxi at a minimum. That's what I projected around May, June. And then it would go up to 50, 60, 70% by end of the year of the entire company. Then it's totally game over. People will totally panic. And the stock will go not to 1,000, but to 2,000.
Yeah. No, next year is fire.
It's a binary thing. Once you run, like, look at what happened last time. It's pricing in this entire new reality that people still deny. Because even Dan Ives and these people that, oh yeah, there's Robotaxi coming, but they're not having my model, or CERN's model. They don't see the full. They're not daring enough to put in the real numbers. But at the second where it starts happening, they will be immediately doing that. It's like, whoa, no, where's it end? Oh, oops, it's just now going to scale.
Tesla stock double the price, what we thought,
Yeah, so I think that's what people have to understand, and this might happen in very short periods of time. Like, we are talking 3-4 months to go from 600 to 2,000. Like, this is how it works, right? So that's what we can't miss. That's why you need to be in the stock. Because will this happen in December next year, or in September, or will it happen in June that it goes to 1,000? I don't know.
That's right.
And that will be pretty random and hard to predict.
Next year, there's a lot of stuff happening, like Cybertruck production, Q2. We finally got like more of a specific date on that. We have Optimus Showcase, as you say, in Q1, but then the ramp's going to happen end of 2026. AI 5 end of 2026.
I don't think AI 5. I think AI 5, by the way, is very clear. I did more research on this. I think when you actually listen to the call, AI 5 is not required for scale. So it is not.
No, because AI 4 has everything it needs. Yeah. I think AI 5 is more geared towards, well, Elon was talking about for self-driving, AI 5 is 10 times better than a human when it comes to that. But AI 4 is, with version 14, we're already seeing insane amount of videos of what it can do. But I think AI 5 is more directed towards Optimus. That's what it's more towards.
But I think also, like, their AI 4, AI 3 to AI 4 was a very important leap forward for FSD, because that was the inflection point to go across a critical mass of onboard inference. So what these chips actually do is they cognitively prepare and integrate the 8 cameras and flatten the pixels and unify it, and then do even edge recognition. So they pre-process all the stuff before they send it into where it really matters, right? And so as long as you are below a certain threshold in terms of resolution, it's really bad. Once you exceed the threshold and have high resolution camera images, like, okay, how much more important is it to reduce it another millisecond and add another 2x to the pixels? It's very marginal. And so I think AI 5 strategic is very good that we have that, but it's not going to be a crazy inflection point. And so it's not necessary, and we can achieve complete perfect self-driving on AI 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not the limiting factor. The limiting factor are other things, data processing and methods and algorithms.
But man, next year, catalysts, I mean, in terms of of things actually happening, going into like production and scaling, next year is gonna be fire.
And I tell you, Pejjy, why I am
so excited.
So crazy bullish, and skew always more bullish than the average, even smart analyst or investor or trader, whatever you call it, is because all of this stuff underlying Elon's brain, Tesla's infrastructure, Tesla's cash pile, and Tesla's technology. What is underlying this entire thing that people ignore? The age of AGI. That every month, we are all sitting here, including Elon, the underlying fabric of intelligence evolves dramatically. And that is the ultimate acceleration. Because when you think about what people in FSD and Robotaxi division do all day long, what they do in Optimus all day long, like material science, sourcing, supply chain, math, technology, data preparation, data optimization, coding. Every single thing of these things get probably 10 to 20 to 30 to 50% more efficient every single month right now.
Yes.
And that's what people like. Do you even understand that normally this thing becomes more efficient 5% every single year? Now it becomes 50% more efficient every single month.
Thanks to AI.
Everything, like everything. And I think people completely don't understand what that means. It means if you're an engineer and sitting there, it's like, oh, create this algorithm and optimize the edge cases for FSD better, right? We have billions of cases, billions of miles, but we know we are only using 1% efficiently right now. That's the status. 1% is good, but there's 99% left. This is all mining and thinking and coding all day long and tweaking and trying. That entire system like doubles in efficiency probably every 2 months right now. And
That's
it
insane.
never did before.
And that's kind of scary too, because it's like there's no limit to this.
There's no, and the more I'm not a total pro on this, but I started researching this whole FSD technology pipeline. Like, what is FSD exactly? Like from the chips from the camera integration, from the edge recognition, then the feeding of the actual objects and components into the LLM, and then what's happening there, then the compute. What I came to conclude from the research is that the true gating function is not compute. It is not data for Tesla right now. It's not compute anymore. It is not data anymore. It's all in the middle. It's all algorithms. It's like, how do you massage and manage the data? And how do you extract the right stuff? And how do you simulate and generate synthetic data? That's the whole game. And if you could have 1,000x improvement in this game, for example, we would have absolute flawless, perfect self-driving in a week. So I think that's basically the problem. And exactly that problem is super accelerated through AGI. That's why I'm very bullish. I think they actually have all the compute they need and all the data they need to have perfect self-driving. What is missing is just figuring out in the middle all these tweaks and algorithms and software and data preparation systems. And that whole thing is pure acceleration, subject to complete acceleration by AGI. And that's why I'm very bullish. I think people will be mind blown over the next 9 months, what happens. And I think then all the other stuff, regulatory, blah, blah, no one cares. Like literally no one cares. If you have cars driving around that are perfect, they will get all the approvals in no time. It's all about technology.
Yeah. And Elon and well, Tesla has all that. The latest versions is just insane, which should tell you that they are literally, I think it's solved. I think the thing is solved. The thing is just, crazy. I just want to see it happening in other countries and stuff like that.
Well, I don't think it's solved in the sense it's actually solved, but I think it's solved on a fundamental level. Like it's basically just tweaking, but the tweaking is like a ridiculous, unimaginable amount of work normally, but now it's not anymore because now you have these systems. And I think that's what people don't get. I think it has been solved since V12, end-to-end neural nets. That was the solution. From there was just tweaking, and getting the compute. They had the data already half, more or less. Now they have definitely more than enough data. And now they have enough compute with 70 or 80,000 H100 equivalents. That's all you need.
And increasing.
So but Elon's not even talking about it. It's like not a big deal. Just buy a bunch of another 20,000 B200s, then you have another 40, then you have 200. I think it's just not a thing anymore. The compute is just not a constraint anymore. It's all how do we identify the remaining edge cases and turn them into synthetic training data so we can train away all these edge cases. That is a very defined problem, I tell you.
And there's only one company that can do that, is Tesla. And only one guy behind it can get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, because when I say all the problems have, like the three components of all AI progress, right? Algorithms, data, and compute. When I say algorithms are the only remaining problem, and data extraction, data design, not the raw data. That is only true for Tesla. There is no other player on earth that has solved the data problem or the compute problem. And these are not little problems. If you tell Volkswagen, can you please create a super cluster of 80,000 H100 equivalents, they're just going to say, no, we can't.
Exactly. And if you guys haven't voted, go vote now. And I think this video would be up sometime around Halloween time, I think. So happy Halloween or pre-Halloween.
You know what we should get? We should get the little stickers. I voted with the Tesla logo.
Unvoted. Oh my God.
It would be hilarious. I should write Alexandra Merz. She would be all over this. We should say, Alexandra, we need little buttons. Can you produce buttons? I voted. It would be so
That would be cool. Sheesh. No, that'd be cool. But yeah, if you guys haven't voted,
as
go
geeky
vote.
as it gets, imagine you walk into a coffee shop and there's a dude sitting. I voted with a Tesla.
And then it'll definitely be a conversation starter, that's for sure. You know, or you know, if there's an anti-Elon, it'll definitely probably throw a pie on your face, but whatever, who cares?
You see, this is why we need more female viewers. If they only knew what the hack is to get any guy you want, if you're a hot girl, you just put it and say, I voted with a Tesla logo. It's like,
that's it.
Oh my God, she's
done.
Perfect.
Awesome. Love it. Always a pleasure having Joe on, man. Appreciate it. Love you, man. Love these podcasts. The viewers love it. If you guys aren't following Joe, you guys should. Link in the description. His Pioneer Lands. Interesting things are coming on that. His X and YouTube for sure. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe as well.
Pioneer Lands, we discuss how you survive and thrive in the age of AGI.
Yes.
Because that's the mission.
Excited to see what's going to happen next on that. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys follow that. And we will definitely see you in the next episode. So see you guys in the next video. See ya.
See you soon.